I wouldn't say we've been fractured, but there's been so many things that have gone on here in the last 4 or 5 years. Some controllable, some uncontrollable, and I think having one of our own, I always say there's 3 L's. Do you like what you do, love what you do, or live what you do? He's lived it, and he lived it in this community, and I think that's what kind of put me over the edge on it. That's what I think is going to be important. But the rest of us have a job to do, and that's to support him.
What do you like most about it? Is that it? The fact that he's homegrown and he's from here?
Well, and he understands what we've all been through. He understands what he's been through. He was a student athlete. I think this is a good time to bring in a guy that was a student athlete. He paid his dues. He went through the process. That's illegal nowadays to do that, so that's kind of cool. And, he's a guy that's always been around, and he's not around when we win, he's around when you lose. And to me, that says volumes, speaks volumes.
Do you remember him as a player?
Hell yes. You know me, I'm a bigger football fan
I
than
know.
a basketball fan, so I watched him tackle a few people.
Tom, every athletic director talks about winning championships, but it's often important to unify the fan base and the alumni. And after some tumultuous times, how important do you think it is to have a guy who can try to do just that?
Well, try to do just that and knows what it takes to do it. He's been there, done that, He's, as I said, he lives this place. He doesn't just like it or love it, he lives it. And that's what's important, I think a great university like this, different than some that are in big major metropolitan areas, is you are part of the community. The university is part of the community is part of the university. And he grew up that way. He lived it, he came here, and I think his goal is to take this to another level, as it was my goal, as it is Coach Tuck's goal. We're all looking to get better, because if you don't, you usually get worse.
You've talked about player-led teams, obviously being strong. To have an athletic director who understands what it means to be a student athlete and understands what it means to be an administrator as well, that duality is rare. How do you think that will help him in this role?
When I look at Alan, being an athlete here is important. Being a police officer here in this day and age is very important. Now, having paid his dues to become the AD is important. So you put them all together, and there's always a better candidate out there, right? I mean, I went through it when I got hired. I understood that there were probably people out there with more experience, there weren't many people that loved this place like I did, and that's because I was here 12 or 13 years before and learned what it was all like. Alan's been here since birth, and I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him. I think in the last month he gets better every day. His speech today to me was phenomenal. So he not only is good, but he gets better every day. And right now, I think he's getting better, and that's the name of the game.
What did you learn about Alan? Good to see you, Tom.
Good teaching me.
Hey, what did you learn about Alan during the process when you're looking for a football coach, when you hired Mark D'Antonio? I know he was involved in that. What did you learn about Alan at that time?
Well, he's come up through good mentors, and he has. That's part of the process. That's what I think is a process that everybody skips nowadays. Alan didn't skip the process, so that made it good because he understood hiring Mark, the success he had. Then he was very involved in hiring a Coach Tuck. And, we're just early into that. But he's been very important in maybe helping me through the years, whenever we had problems, whenever a player had a problem. Alan was a guy who could call and he'd try to work it out, he'd spend time with it, and that's, the rest is yet to be seen, just like it was with me. It's yet to be seen, but he's got some of the ingredients inside that I think somebody from the outside might have had more experience, they wouldn't have had the love and the understanding of the university. And I think at these kind of schools, it's important. Not just me. I think it's important.
He mentioned before about, good to see you by the way, he mentioned before about when he interviewed D'Antonio, you remember thinking back to the moment when he realized this guy needs to be our head coach. Was there a moment like that for Alan, or has it just been the consistency over the last decade?
For me, there were so many decisions to be made. Are we looking for somebody who has experience? Are we looking for not? The rules kind of change a little bit as you go, but I tell you, not only was he good as he started interviewing, but I thought today's speech said it all. You know, I think that's who Alan Heller is, and I'm proud of him because I see him growing right in front of my eyes. Hopefully that's the way it was for me, Stacy, you know, Coach Tuck, you know, Coach Dean. When we went through things, you know, those first years, him and I were talking about it the last couple of weeks, and you know, for all of us right now, I think we got to do a better job of making sure we understand the pecking order. The AD is at the top of the food chain, then the football and basketball coach, and then, you know, the other coaches. I mean, there is a pecking order here, and the number one pecking order in athletics is the athletic director, and we need to support him. He'll support us. Not worried about that. We need to do a better job supporting him. You know, Judd once told me that nobody's bigger than the program. So that means the athletes aren't bigger, the coaches aren't bigger. Nobody's bigger than the program or the university. You know, they'll come and go, we'll come and go. So even though I agree with that, I know the modern day way is student athletes. I'm 100% for the student athletes, but I'm 200% for the athletic department in this university. 200%. I've proven that day in, day out, and I will to the day I leave, and I think he will to the day he leaves.
Tom, you may have been asked this, but the culture aspect and knowing that he's been around for such a long time and in all these different roles, how important was that in finding, you know, to have him be the next athletic director versus somebody from outside coming in?
You know, when I came in here as a GA, I was the strength coach. I was the academic advisor because we didn't have any. I was the Scott Skiles chaser. I chased him around, make sure he was in class. I did those menial jobs at the time. Then I became the video guy. So I had an understanding in all the aspects of a program, not just what it's like to be an assistant or head coach. I think that helped me greatly as I move forward, and that's why I think some of the most important people for me are managers, because I sort of was one. And I think for Alan, you know, when you grow up here in this day and age, being a police officer and seeing what they've gone through lately, and yet being an administrator and watch him grow under different people, I think it's just incredible, you know, and it's going to make him, I think, a hell of an AD as long as we do our job. He said it best. It's not a one-man job. It's all of us, and that includes all of you, this community, and we all got to band together, and if we do, we're going to take this place to another level. It's been taken to a few good levels. Ratchet it up, baby.
Well, that was just one more quick question off of that. How do you think that he's going to take it to that level, that next level that all of you guys as coaches want it to be at?
Well, you know, I think we all understand. I understand anyway that football kind of stirs the drink. You know, we've got to have a good football program because the money, the prestige, everything else that goes with it. But I think he's going to look at all the other programs. You know, I mean, I think some of our non-revenue Olympic sports, you know, maybe haven't been funded like they need to be, and coaches paid like they need to be. I think he's going to be an athletic director for all, you know, not just for football and basketball. And I think that was the misnomer, you know. Everybody said, well, is he going to be just for Mel or just for Mel and Tom? And I think that he's going to be for everybody because he came up from the basement. He understands that process. And, you know, saw people struggle because maybe they didn't have what you need to have to compete at this level. It's not going to happen overnight. But I think Mel and I are going to help in that too, you know. I've always been for everybody here. And I think Mel has some of that in him. I know Alan does.